All right, so for tomorrow, the best thing that you can do is look over what we've talked about in class. And hopefully we were paying somewhat attention to those videos that we were showing, because one related to binocular vision in that of, I don't know if you want to say apes or monkeys, but even though they are not necessarily really a carnivore, yeah, they're more so omnivores, so they have the tools in their mouth to do that. But what was the adaptation that they had for binocular vision when it was not tailored for being an active predator for eating flesh? Yes. So what they could do, even though they had the binocular vision, it was being able to see different types of colors. That was certainly going to be an advantage, because the more nutrition that you take in as an individual, your survival will increase because you are eating more healthy. And it's kind of like, for instance, I'm guilty. I'm not the most healthy eater. Luckily, that's probably gotten better over the years, the last 5. Why might that be? Just take a guess. I bet you know the answer. Why 5 years? I've been married for 5 years. That's why. So I got a boss, not just here. I got a boss at home too. So isn't that the way it's supposed to work, ladies? Okay. So see, you learn life skills in here too. You know, this doesn't pertain to zoology. It's different life skills. You can say that. Then us as men, we just say, woman, this is what you're gonna do, woman. Trust me, I don't. Okay, and it shouldn't work like that. Okay. Okay, fair enough. But anyway, with that, that's why I don't spend so much money at Subway anymore. Anyway, so with that, like I said, I'm guilty of it too. I don't take in the best nutrition, and this is probably a downfall too. This is from yesterday. Okay, so I haven't quite finished it yet. Okay, so with that, what we want you to do, just like we said first hour, you don't, if you know that content today, chances are you're going to know that content tomorrow, just like with the organic class. With this, okay, we are concerned about those 5 observations. And yes, we want you to put them in order and be able to explain how do we interpret those observations. So should we just mix them up and then you put them in order, or should we just together as a group go 1 through 5? Okay, so again, if I'm not saying you have to write this down, okay, because we're juniors now, okay, we shouldn't have to say, you need to be responsible. Do you think you have to write it down? I know, but do you think you have to? I know I said you don't have, I didn't say you had to, but do you think you need to write it down? Probably not. Okay. Do you think you need to write it down? Okay, fair enough. Do you think you need to write it down? Okay. Do you think you need to write it down? Probably. Do you think you need to write it down? Okay. There you have it. So it's your choice. Okay. All right. So I'm I'm going to be lazy today. I just feel like being lazy. Anyone else feel like being lazy? I was just going to put OB1. OB1 Kenobi. Yeah? Isn't that right? OB1. Star Wars? No? Okay. All right. Then I suppose we better do this. Now, I don't want to see this. Why is that? What did we say either last week or the first couple days in here? When it comes to these parts of the evaluation, they should be complete sentences. Okay? I'm sorry, what were you going to say? Right. Okay? So in other words, we're going to write it like this, but it's your responsibility to connect the dots. I'll explain what that means when we get to the end. Okay, so for observation 1, okay, we, or should we say was interpreted? We as a group? Okay, we interpret. That doesn't look right. Okay, so we interpret as alligators and crocodiles. What about them? That's what we used as an example. And that's probably what you wrote down in these papers. I'm just guessing. Gesundheit. Some of you may have, some of you, no, you didn't. But you didn't have to, but tomorrow, this is what we want you to be remember and be responsible for. Observation 1, we interpret as a large number of what? I still think it's, I know that doesn't look right, but that is right? Okay. Okay, so what do we mean by an alligator clutch? What would you guess we mean by that? Yeah, so it's how many the female is going to lay for eggs. That is her clutch size. And because of that, what's true about these 50 eggs being laid in a clutch size? Not all of them are going to either, might not even hatch. I never really considered that. They might not even hatch, okay? But more importantly, we interpret as not all 50 of them are going to what? They're not going to, and that's just a fact of evolution. They're not going to survive to reproduce. And for instance, remember we said if each female was to have a clutch size of 50 eggs, and then there were 10 females in this group, not all 500 of them alligators are going to survive to reproduce. Otherwise, there would be just an overpopulation of them. But that does not happen. because not all of them offspring are going to survive to reproduce. Okay? Then, observation 2. Something about the populations. Yeah, I'm trying to do the wave from, I'm epically failing, but you get the idea. Okay, so when we interpret that, the best example that we gave would be what? We drew a graph of this. Okay, is that what you were going to say? No? Since we're going to put that down, that might be some pretty important information. And we're going to choose, it's a choice. It's your choice to not do that. Okay? Okay? Will or can fluctuate in size, okay? Which means what would we mean by this? If a food source crashes, what does that mean to that population of bunnies or rabbits or whatever? That population has crashed. What's going to be the effect of that? You probably said it. The fox what? The foxes will go extinct?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry. It sounds like you're mumbling. All I heard was foxes. Okay. If a food source crashes, okay, the predator may crash as well. Okay?
A predator is it's A-T-O-R.
I was just seeing if you were paying attention, which you were. Okay? Okay, these are probably what I would believe is probably the two hardest to remember, okay, because there's so much content that goes into it. Observation 3 was probably the most important, though. Okay. Okay. When you put these first two observations together, observation 3 is probably the most important because it leads to a constant, what I want to say, not supply, a constant struggle for two things. You do want to include those two things, though. Food and habitat or shelter, meaning the same thing. Observation 3, Okay. Okay, so struggle for having enough food and habitat, or surroundings, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, then probably the simplest one, observation 4. In other words, if younger sis was here, if Ashley was here, we'd say, what about even with twins? So no two individuals will what? Yeah. Yeah. No two individuals would look exactly alike. Like I said, the first two would probably be the most difficult to remember because you want those added points or added emphasis on there. The alligator's clutch size, the predator-prey simulation, and that food and habitat is important for observation 3. No two individuals look alike for observation 4. And then we said probably the most annoying, and you people had said this, was for observation 5, what's true about the offspring? They resemble something. Okay? Okay, said is just even by looking at just the amount of words that go into it. Again, the first two probably the most difficult. Okay, what we talked about in class, the videos, the vocabulary that was handed back to you, and this content for tomorrow. Anything else? Nothing else? Oh, we did remember. Okay, fair enough. I'll go ahead and resume this now in case Ashley, the other Ashley, wants to get this content. It says the John Tesh radio show is known as IFYL or Blank for Your Life. And then the two MLB teams that played at the Field of Dreams in Iowa was the New York Yankees and blank. Teacher signature, 1 point. Parents or guardian signature, 2 points. This is something you choose to do. Has to be handed in tomorrow, and it has to be on the paper that you wrote it on. It's not one of these things you just write these answers on your exam and expect points for it. It's all part of responsibility. All right. So next week, we will begin talking about the sponges during homecoming week. That's all I got. We'll catch up to you next time.